Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near-death experience of Michael. Michael's experience occurred on September 6th of 2011 and was documented on September 9th of 2018, open quote. At approximately 0 hours on 9/16/11, I was having extreme stomach pain. This has happened before and only been heartburn. This pain was worse than I had experienced before, so I decided I needed my wife to take me to the emergency room as soon as possible. I woke her up and told her what was going on. Because I was a trained emergency medical technician at the time, I started trying to figure out my signs and symptoms as to what was wrong with me. My wife got dressed and drove me to the local emergency room that was only a 5-minute drive away. The pain got worse on the drive to the hospital. We pulled up to the entrance of the emergency room, and I got out while my wife parked the car. I entered the triage area and told the intake nurse my signs and symptoms. I told her my pain was a 10 plus on the scale of 1 to 10. She admitted me and brought me back into the emergency room trauma room. I remember my vitals were being taken while I was asked the usual intake questions. I was given a dose of Dilaudid for pain since my pain was getting worse. After a few minutes, another nurse came to check on me and she administered another dose of Dilaudid. I started to feel better as my pain decreased. A few more minutes had passed and another dose of Dilaudid was given to me, which was an overdose. Later, my wife told me they gave me 4 doses total in a short time frame. I went into respiratory arrest and stopped breathing for several minutes due to the overdose of medication given to me. From what I remembered, I was no longer on the planet. I do not remember leaving my physical body, but I was in a dark void. There I experienced no time, no pain, and no nothing. I generally felt like I was in a black room, yet I could not see any walls. I felt that there were several people around me at that time. I could not see anyone, but I had a very strange feeling that I was not alone. I could not make out anything in this space. I could not see myself or others. I did not see any objects. I saw just pure blackness and a lack of any light. After the doctors called the code on me, they started to resuscitate me. I remember traveling back to my body and seeing a doctor on top of me yelling at me to start breathing. I woke up and saw my wife hysterical. I also saw my sister-in-law in the emergency room with my wife. This was weird to me because I felt like I never lost a lot of time, yet several minutes had passed and new people were around me. When I awoke, my wife told me that I had stopped breathing for several minutes. She said they had to scream for a nurse and doctor to revive me since I had no pulse and was not breathing. After the event, I was taken to the CT scanner where I coded again and stopped breathing. Once again, they revived me, but this time I did not experience anything, except I remember throwing up in the machine after they had bagged me with an ambu bag. This was around 2:30 in the morning. They told me that I had some brain damage due to the lack of oxygen. The next thing I remembered was waking up in a private hospital room around 6:30 p.m. A surgeon came in to talk to me and told me that I needed to have my gallbladder removed because it was causing all of my problems. The next day, my gallbladder was removed. I spent 6 days in the hospital learning to walk again since I was still in a lot of pain from the surgery and everything else I had been through. Since this incident, I developed stage 2 kidney disease since I stopped breathing for so long that my body was not oxygenated properly. I also am on medication from the removal of my gallbladder since I still have stomach pain to this day. I have also experienced PTSD signs and symptoms that have affected my daily life. I had a panic attack shortly after this incident. My wife and I were in the movie theater and it went dark. I rushed out of the theater because I flashed back to the near-death experience. The intense feeling of needing to get out of that environment was more than I could handle. I felt like I was having a panic attack. The PTSD has since been under control, and I feel somewhat better. I wake up every day from sleeping thinking, I should not be here. I have regrets about coming back to life. I have a very hard time dealing with what I went through, and I get very upset when I hear that people had a pleasant near-death experience when I had the opposite experience. I felt as if I was in purgatory and that maybe I was being put in this place as some type of judgment. But I have never lived a bad life. I was a police officer and saved people's lives. I'm a good person, so why was I being judged or put into this void? For a while now, I know that there is another form of existence that death brings to us. I have seen other people die in front of me, and I have dealt with the death of family and friends. Now I look at death as another plane of existence, and I welcome it. I do not fear it. End quote. Wow. Michael. That was an amazing story, sir. Maybe you were in the void because you weren't expected to die. I mean, this was an accident, and a bad one too. Goodness gracious. And nobody was expecting you there. I don't know. Being in the void, staying in the void forever, that wouldn't be good. And you know, some people say there's nothing in the void, but several stories now say I think there was other things in the void. I felt there were other things there, other beings or something else there. Let's see about any of these. I don't know how many questions there are here. Question, did time seem to speed up or slow down? Answer, time did not seem like something I was concerned with. I did think to myself while being there, what's next? Why am I here? Question, comparing your vision? Answer, it was normal. I didn't see anything since everything around me was all black and there was an absence of light. Question, did you seem to enter some other unearthly world? Answer, I was in a black void with no sense of where I was. No walls, no light, nothing. Question, what was your religion prior to your experience? Answer, unaffiliated agnostic. Question, have your religious practices changed since your experience? Answer, no. Question, what is your religion now? Answer, unaffiliated agnostic. Question, did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer, both consistent and inconsistent. Before this event, I felt that there was another place we would go when we die. I did believe in an afterlife, but what I experienced was not the afterlife I thought would happen. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about your purpose? Answer, yes. I feel like there is more to our physical bodies and that there is another type of existence once we die. Death is not a final outcome, but I believe it is part of a journey that we will all take once we die. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about an afterlife? Answer, an afterlife definitely exists. I felt like I was either somewhere else or in some other type of existence. It's hard to say what I felt during my time in the black void, but when I was revived by the doctors, I felt like I was sent back into my body again from wherever I was. Question, what life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer, slight changes. I feel that I should not be here and that I cheated death somehow. It takes a lot out of me to wake up and look forward to the next day ahead of me. Sorry to hear that. Question, was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer, yes. For the longest time, I could not describe it other than being in a black room. Then someone told me about a void that made more sense to me to start describing it as a black void. Question, how accurately do you remember the experience as compared to other life events that happened around the same time? Answer, it is something I can picture and see clearly, just as other traumatic events have happened to me in my life. No psychic or other special gifts. Question, are there one or several parts of the experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer, the feeling of knowing there is another plane of existence that I will experience upon my death. Question, have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer, yes. I told my wife and have told several people and still tell them. I told a hospice nurse what happened to me, and she told me that I described the first stage of death. She told me that I did not die enough to experience the light and other things that happened during a near-death experience. Okay, I would say when I talk about what happened to me, it has been very positive. The only negative thing is when I hear people talking about meeting God or Jesus. I have a strong sense of calling that BS. Question, what did you believe about the reality of your experience shortly after it happened? Answer, experience was definitely real. It was too real to think that it did not happen. I have 100% recall of this event, and it's the same vision day after day when I relive it. I know this happened to me. My wife saw me die, and so did my sister-in-law. I left this planet, and I know I was somewhere else. I do not know where that was, but I know it happened, and I remember 100% coming back into my body. Question, at any time of your event, has anything ever reproduced any part of that experience? Answer, yes. The dark movie theater experience and even going to bed in the dark sometimes can trigger me. Question, are there any other questions that we could ask to help you communicate your experience? Answer, I think you need to focus more on the black void experience that I had. End quote. End questions. Very, very interesting, Michael. Thank you for sharing your experience, and I hope that you are doing okay. I'm sorry that you have to live daily with feeling that you cheated death and having a hard time looking forward to the new day ahead of you. But I know that I enjoyed reading your story, and that void, I can see how that may be scary or frightful to some people. But I do also think your nurse, or the hospice nurse there, probably gave an accurate description in that there's more than just a void. That would be good. Although we just read an experience a couple days ago where I think the lady went beyond the light to get to the void. So I don't know. Maybe you need to move. I think she was from another country. Have a great day.